Spark Books here. Today, I'm going to explain the book, The Mother Tongue, by Bill Bryson. Take care, enjoy the book, and have a nice day. The Mother Tongue, 1990, provides a unique and personal look at the history of the English language. You'll learn how, thanks to its flexibility and adaptability, English has endured and flourished, despite centuries of invasions, uprisings and censorship. Key idea number 1. Many languages have a common ancestor. Today's world is more connected, say many. This is true, but connectedness isn't new. Language has long indicated a global connection. Brother, German Bruder, Sanskrit Brata, and Persian Barater. Since there is no word for sea, they likely originated inland. Migrating to the coast, they created their own ocean words. What's the connection? An 18th century English judge asked the same question, launching historical linguistics. Sir William Jones learned Sanskrit while working in India. The language had been dead for hundreds of years, but priests had memorized the Vedas. Priests passed down words without knowing their meanings. Jones noticed similarities between Sanskrit and European languages as he studied these texts. King is Rex in Latin and Raja in Sanskrit. Burja is Sanskrit for birch. After noticing these similarities, Jones began comparing other languages to Sanskrit and found evidence for a theory that many classical languages, Persian, Latin, Celtic, Sanskrit, Greek, had a parent language. Jones eventually presented in Calcutta. This talk spawned a new academic field. European scholars conducted research and agreed with Jones. They called it Indo-European. Indo-existence Europeans was a linguistics feat. Indo-European speakers lived during the Stone Age, around 7000 BC, and there is no written evidence. Scholars have made convincing hypotheses about their lives based on descendant language words. Since snow and cold are similar, Indo-Europeans didn't live in tropical climates. Since there is no word for sea, they likely originated inland. Migrating to the coast, they created their own ocean words. Key idea number 2. Repeated British Isles conquests changed and expanded English. Nowadays, English words are common in European languages. Historically, English was the main adopter of foreign words. Two-tiered society developed under Norman rule. A ruling French-speaking class and an English-speaking working class existed. Anglo-Saxon words like baker and miller described labor jobs, while French words like painter and tailor described skilled trades. When an animal lived on a farm, it was called cow or pig, but once it was cooked and served, it was called beef or bacon. The Angles and Saxons, two Germanic tribes, migrated to Britain and influenced the English language. After the Romans left northern Germany around 450 AD, these tribes crossed the North Sea to Britain. They displaced the Celts and began developing English. In 850 AD, Vikings invaded. 350 Viking warships sailed up the Thames from Scandinavia. Thus began a battle that lasted nearly 30 years, until 878 AD. The Danelaw then divided Britain between the southern English and the northern Vikings. This arrangement affected language. The English language adopted many Scandinavian words and terms, such as window, from the Old Norse vindaga, meaning wind eye. More than 1,400 Northern England place names are of Scandinavian origin. Old English and Old Norse eventually merged. The Normans invaded in 1066. The Normans, a Viking tribe that settled in northern France 2 centuries earlier, invaded England and began a new era. They ruled for 300 years and added 10,000 words to English. Two-tiered society developed under Norman rule. A ruling French-speaking class and an English-speaking working class existed. Anglo-Saxon words like baker and miller described labor jobs, while French words like painter and tailor described skilled trades. When an animal lived on a farm, it was called cow or pig, but once it was cooked and served, it was called beef or bacon. Key idea number 3. New words were added and old ones gained new meanings as English evolved. Manufacture is derived from the Latin word for hand. It now means machine-made products. Simpler and shorter words create new words. It's easier to say gym than gymnasium. In other cases, Latin phrases like mobile vulgus are shortened to mob. This is common. Over half of all Latin-derived English words have changed. Example, brave. It's related to bravado, which implies false courage and shares a Latin root with depraved. Sometimes, words gain new meanings while keeping old ones. Set has 58 noun and 126 verb definitions. Then, creative people add new words. Between 1500 and 1650, over 10,000 new words entered the English lexicon. Shakespeare coined leapfrog, excellent, lonely, and majestic. Isaac Newton contributed words like centrifugal. Adding or removing prefixes and suffixes from existing words created new words. In English, Changing a word's beginning or ending can reverse its meaning or create an adjective. We can make visible into invisible or labyrinth into labyrinthine. Oddly, an added prefix can sometimes create a word with the same meaning, such as habitable and inhabitable, which both mean something is suitable to live in. Simpler and shorter words create new words. It's easier to say gym than gymnasium. In other cases, Latin phrases like mobile vulgus are shortened to mob. Key idea number 4, America was misunderstood and adapted in the New World. Necessity is the mother of invention, as the saying goes. When settlers arrived in the Americas, they encountered strange new plants and animals. The error was discovered too late. Vespucci's proposed name, Mundus Novus, never caught on. The settlers quickly adopted the Native American names for these animals and plants. Hickory comes from the Algonquin word paco hicora. Squash, raccoon, and hammock are Native American words. Mustang and canyon came from Spanish settlers, while landscape and prairie are Dutch and French, respectively. Compound words combine two words. Vivid, descriptive words like rattlesnake, eggplant, grasshopper, and catfish. Nicknames are also evocative, but vary by country. In a British pub, slot machines are called fruit machines, or one-armed bandits in the US. Misunderstandings are inevitable. At least one common word came from a misunderstanding. Amerigo Vespucci, a 15th century Italian explorer, made 4 transatlantic voyages but never saw North America. In Vespucci's honor, a German mapmaker named the new country Americus Vespucius. The error was discovered too late. Vespucci's proposed name, Mundus Novus, never caught on. Key idea number 5, last names reveal family history. Smith, Schmidt, Herrero, Kovacs, or Ferraro are likely metalsmith surnames. Our last names can reveal our ancestry in many ways. A surname can reveal where ancestors lived. Names like James of Preston were shortened to James Preston over time. A surname was meant to distinguish one person from another, which is why London is less common than Worthington. It made no sense to have a crowded city filled with people with the same last name. If a Londoner left for the country, he might take John of London. Other English surnames, like Armstrong, come from descriptive nicknames, like Tolstoy, Fat, and Gorky, bitter. Patronymics, like Peterson or Johnson, indicate lineage. Charles John became Charles Johnson. Smith and Baker are trade names. Many of these jobs still exist, but others have disappeared. Fletcher is a bowyer, and Bateman is a misspelling of boatman. These methods made it easy to distinguish the village's 2 Peters, but not generations. In 1413, England introduced medieval bureaucracy. At this point, everyone needed name, occupation, and address documentation. They had to settle on a surname. Key idea number 6, one century's words can be profane the next. In Hollywood, 17 words can earn a film R rating. Americans were prudery. In 19th century America, mentioning a woman's legs was taboo. Even chicken parts were taboo, hence white meat. Breast meat was too scandalous. History shows that whether times are oppressive, liberating, or uptight, the English language will grow and flourish. Such lists aren't permanent. What's vulgar or profane changes over time. In writing and conversation, today's most offensive swear words were once used casually, publicly displayed. Before the 18th century, Gropekuntland was a London prostitute street. Vocabulary can lose its profanity. Many words we now consider harmless or cute used to be illegal. In the 19th century, puppy referred to arrogant and unpleasant youth. Blasphemous language was once more offensive than today. In 1623, the English Parliament made swearing illegal and threatened to fine people who used Jesus and hell or upon my life. 20 years later, swearing at your parents was punishable by death. England's morality censors tried to sanitize language in the 19th century, removing swear words from literature. These censors even removed the word damned from Shakespeare's relatively clean works. Americans were prudery. In 19th century America, mentioning a woman's legs was taboo. Even chicken parts were taboo, hence white meat. Breast meat was too scandalous. History shows that whether times are oppressive, liberating, or uptight, the English language will grow and flourish. English is a dynamic, flexible, time-tested language. Dramatic upheavals have enriched its ability to absorb foreign words and influence foreign tongues. To view more content like this, subscribe. Don't forget to like and turn on notifications. The channel really benefits from it. I appreciate you being here.